Yeah. So yeah, so some days the quality of the ability to kind of soothe and calm the mind happens so much easier than other days. And I know we all know this feeling of, and there's can be a million reasons of why the mind is hard to settle on some days more than other days. Could be what's happening in your mind, in your like personal world, in the big world. It could just be simply the pollen in the air, or the way you slept, or what you ate for dinner last night, or anything else, any number of things. So my greatest reminder that I always try to tell myself when I struggle with calming my mind down is to not worry about it, to just allow what is happening happen, and to recognize that most of our time spent in meditation is about becoming aware of what actually is happening in the mind. So if you're aware that your mind is going jumping around into hoops, then that's just what's happening on any given day. But what does help, what I have found when I'm in that space where I just get distracted and, suddenly I'm over here and then I have to keep pulling myself back, is to return to the breath. So meditations can have a focal point, you can gaze at a candle, you can think of a mantra. I mean, there's so many different techniques. But I think truly the simplest is the breath. For for one, it's always there. You don't have to go find something outside of yourself to be the center of your awareness and your attention. And so whether, you're on the bus or in your bed or anywhere in between, you always have the breath available to you to center you. So if you practice pranayama, if you have a breath technique practice, then it's just that much more accessible. You can just touch the breath and suddenly you come home to yourself. So this is one of the reasons why I think it's really important to focus on the breath. One of the many reasons to focus on breath practices is so that it's right at your fingertips, that it's something that's available to you, and you don't have to go searching for it very hard when you need to come into center. And it doesn't have to just be in meditations. It could be when you're having a challenging conversation, or when you are getting lost in the anxiety of what's to come when we have no idea what's to come. So let's begin our practice with a little bit of breath. So take a moment to drop your awareness. First, before even that, just make sure you're in a comfortable seat. There's nothing more distracting than having pain in your body or discomfort. So try to have as much ease as you can. And it could be that you're sitting in a chair, it could be that you're choosing to stand up or lie down or have any other position that's available to you right now. But if you're sitting, make sure that your seat is a good, comfortable seat. That if you remember our practice from yesterday when we did a lot of focus on posture, let's see if we can feel our way into that centering of our pelvis and the grounding that comes from this. Check in with your legs and just feel a broad and settled base. And from there, lift your spine, open your heart a bit. Unfurl like the fern toward the light. Relax your jaw and relax your eyes. Just take a moment to sense your way toward your breath. It's very difficult to observe a natural breath. The minute we look closely, it starts to change. And that's okay. Notice what's here in this breath right now. And the simplest of techniques is just to lengthen. Okay, so we don't have to do anything else just yet. Just see if you can stretch the breath out, both the inhale and the exhale, a little bit longer. And as always, we don't want the breath to be a practice of efforting. We want to create space and let the breath be a practice of inviting. If you feel at any time that you have kind of like a little bit of a hump to go over between the inhale and the exhale, if you have to kind of work to that transition instead of just letting the exhale kind of find a slide, moving very easily from the inhale to the exhale. If that's a tricky transition for you, work less hard, okay? Don't breathe as much in. Don't feel like you have to top the tank. Now let's pay attention to that transition at the bottom of the exhale as well. That when you feel the end of the exhale happen, you don't have to push more out, but pause just for a momentary pause in the bottom of that exhale. And experiment with the length of that pause, because we also don't want that transition toward the inhale to be one of effort, to be one of gulping, of need. Okay. There's times when holding your breath and having breath hunger is a good thing for, if that's what you're working on any given time. If you're working with some carbon dioxide levels, things like that. But for today, let's see if we can make these transitions be clear between the inhale and exhale and inhale, and smooth. Practice just that tiny pause at the bottom of the exhale so you get to know that quiet place, even if it's just for a fraction of a second. Sense into the quietness, the stillness that lives in the bottom of the exhale. Focusing on the smooth transitions, focusing on the length of your breath, taking notice of any little bit of tension or strain that might arise, and adjust moment by moment to try to have ease be the top sensation that you're feeling. In the back burner of your mind, stay with your posture a little bit, notice. And now see if you can move toward a sense of normalcy where you're not manipulating so much with the transitions or the length of your breath, but to just observe and feel the fullness of your attention focusing on the rhythm of your breathing. And how nice it is to have something to anchor your mind, something very physical that happens in your body in present time, that you can just latch the mind onto to keep you in that state where all the extraneous thinking that we do can kind of fall away just for a brief period of time, and we can center ourselves. And in this centered place, let's place our hands together and try to sense into the third eye, the palms, and center of the heart, like this centering of your being. Let the breath kind of feel almost as if it can originate from this centered place And billow out and then return to this centered place. Create an intention here in your mind. How can your practice support you today? Release your hands. And let's find our way onto our back. Right, so our practice today, our physical practice today is going to be a little bit of work with opening the chest up and the shoulders. So we haven't done this in a while, but we're going to do the clock, the shoulder clock that we do, the wall clock. So kind of get a little bit of a head start thinking about where in your space you might be able to have your arm against a wall for a little while. All right, so let's stretch out on our back and reach your arms overhead. And as always, let's just enjoy the simplicity of coming home into your body, stretching the right side a little longer, stretching the left side a little longer, and just opening up the pathways of our body, breathing deeply. All right. Then draw your knees into your chest and let's rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. Okay, let your head relax. See if you can just notice now, not just the breath as your guiding light and anchoring for the mind, but the sensations of the body as well. So hone your thinking to live in sensation. Hang on to your knees and let's circle your knees a few times. And this also requires training, just like training the mind to pay attention to the breath. We can train the mind to pay attention to sensation. Breath and sensation, switch the directions of your knees. Breath and sensation live right now. They don't live in the past or the future. They live right now. So they're great things for us to anchor our minds to when we feel a little overwhelmed by the ruminations of the mind. Okay, let's open up the knees, move them away from the midline, move them toward the midline, and find some circling or straight lines or zigzags or anything that you want, but just allowing your body to feel your way into those hip joints. And then take your right knee into your chest to give it a good snug hug and stretch your left leg long on the ground. And let's roll around in the ankles, wiggling your toes, waking up what's happening in your feet. Cross the right knee over to the left. Don't feel like you have to go super far into this twist. Open up your right arm out to the side, turn your head to the right, and let your chest open up here. And then let's just take a moment to slide our hand around on the ground, a little bit of like a half snow angel just with your arm, and just seek a little bit of opening through the pecs. Now remember your pectoralis major muscle, the fibers really run in 3 different directions. So we need a lot of mobility in here to stretch our full pec major muscle. And then back to center. Give a good squeeze, pick up your head, and hug in toward that knee. Let's release the head down, switch sides, left knee into the chest, right leg long on the ground, and give a good, nice, snug squeeze into that knee. Move around in your ankles again. Wiggle your toes, roll your ankles, any kind of movement that feels good, waking up the shins and the calves a little bit. Getting your lymph to start moving in your body as well. All right, a good squeeze of that knee. Take this left knee into the right hand, cross over. You can always stick a block under your knee if you'd like, or your shin. You don't have to. You can just keep your hand there to prevent you from going too deep in the pose.
or maybe you're really flexible and your knee comes right down to the ground. So it doesn't matter. Focus on your chest now. Turn your head to the left and maybe slide around in your arm like a half snow angel. And just kind of sensing what is the range of motion in this plane in my shoulder right now? Is there any hitch along the way? Does this feel good? Or do you have some difficulty with it? You know, what's happening? Back to center, knee in, pick up your head, a nice snug squeeze, and then reach your limbs wide out in space. Take a star on the ground, open up your body, and then as you exhale, draw your knees into your chest. Put your head down, grab onto your feet, and let's just rock a little bit in a bit of a happy baby pose, dropping your knees toward the ground, letting your back open up a little bit. You can be still, you don't have to move. You can also hold behind your knees instead of your feet if that feels better for your body. And then let's take our right foot on our left knee or cross your right thigh over your left thigh, whichever feels like a better hip posture for you for right now. And then again, if you'd like a little bit of mobility, feel free to do a little swirling or rocking or anything that feels good. You can pulse toward your chest and back, just kind of sense into a little bit of movement in that hip joint. And then reach the legs straight up in the air, arms up overhead. Find that stability of your spine. Knit your ribs down toward the ground. Let's point and flex your toes. Maybe a couple of rolls in your ankles here. And then release your legs down. Put your left foot on right knee or your left thigh on right thigh and draw in for a reverse pigeon or a reverse eagle legs. All right, so go ahead and find some movement if that feels good. Find some stillness if that feels good. There's no rules about how to open your body up. My greatest hope is that you're always following your intuition. This is another aspect of present moment awareness in the body, and another way in which we need to kind of build the muscle, you know, to practice in order to have access to our breath, to our sensation, to our intuition. All right, put your feet on the ground, stretch your arms overhead one more time, and let's rock our knees left and right while the arms are overhead so you get a little bit of side body opening. Breathing deeply, and then let's roll all the way to your side and come up to your hands and your knees. And as you find your way onto all fours, take some time, make sure that your body feels good, that you have a good grounding. And then let's start to move our body through some cat-cow. So we're arching and rounding the spine. Okay. Tail up, chest up, head up, chin up, and then switch the directions. Tail down, shoulders broad, head down. Make sure you're breathing as you go. See if you can filter the breath through the body. Any kind of movement that you want, follow your intuition about what your body needs. You can do some circling in your shoulders or pelvis. You can wag your tail, you can move your head around. Again, following your intuition, light up the sensing of what your body needs moment by moment. All right, and then drop back towards child's pose. Walk the hands far out in front of you and lengthen. Feel your way into a deep compression in your hips and in your knees. A big breath down your spine. Exhale all the way out. Let's walk the hands over to one side or the other. So we're finding a side body stretch. Open your side ribs, drop some weight into your hips, relax your neck. And come back to center. Come over to the other side and feel the grounding of your pelvis as you open up your side body. Breathe deeply here. Come back to center. Come up to your hands and your knees. Wag your tail a little bit again. Maybe another cat-cow. Curl the toes under and stretch back towards child's pose with your toes curled under. So opening up your Achilles a lot, your calves. Coming back up, maybe give your feet a little bit of a smack on the ground so you know where they are. And let's take a twist. Right arm reaching high to the sky. Exhale, drop that shoulder under and twist to the side. Gaze toward the ground, let your neck be neutral. Full breaths here. All right, we're gonna face the ground. Keep your arm underneath there a bit. Collarbones start to broaden. So we're stretching the back side of the shoulder. Find your breath. Now reach that arm back up in the air, hand to the sky, and then to the earth. Switching sides, arm up, stretch through your shoulder, and then take that twist. Shoulder down on the ground, gaze toward the floor. A little bit of weight with your right hand on the ground to help you open up. Find the ease through your neck. Try not to turn your head up toward the sky, but just relax down toward the ground. And then facing the ground with your chest, so the shoulder is in a little slightly different position. Drop your hips back toward the heels. Enjoy the compression right along the AC joint. You know, we've got 2 joints in our shoulder, not just one. You got where the collarbone meets this shoulder blade and where the arm bone meets the shoulder blade. Reach that arm back up in the air, hand down onto the ground, and let's find our way up to a dog pose. So stretching out long and strong here. So push off the ground to reach in the body, feeling some good length. Maybe wag the tail, maybe pedal the feet, kind of just find what's gonna feel good. And especially, you know, if you tend to do a lot of walking, which I know some of you do, having your ankles and your feet opening up is a really good thing. You know, it helps us with our balance. It just helps us release from a lot of walking and being in shoes. Femur bones up and back, ground the hands. Can you return to that breath? All right, walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. If you have some blocks and like to use them, grab your blocks. Forward fold. Relax your neck. Find some ease. Wag your tail. Shake your hands a bit if you need. Inhale for a halfway lift, opening up through the backs of the legs fully now. So lift the sit bones, stretch the backs of the knees, open up the soles of the feet. Get long in your spine. And exhale and release to melt and fold again. Let's repeat that. Inhale for a halfway lift, extending your spine long, thigh bones back. Exhale, relax again. Push through your feet. Bring your hands onto your thighs for a moment. Drop your shoulder blades down the back. So we're not locking out our arms. Drop your shoulder blades, bend your elbows. Put a little extra weight into your heels. Inhale as if you're coming into a chair. So slightly more lifting through your chest. Breathe deeply, and then we'll come all the way up to stand. Reaching the arms up in the air, feel that extension.
Open up big and wide. Let's cactus. Open the arms, give a good squeeze into the back of your body, and then exhale and round in chin to chest. Inhale, up again. Exhale, swan dive forward, a deep fold. A halfway lift, extending through your spine. Exhale and relax back down. Step back to a dog pose again. Feel your way into that length in your body. Extend and reach here. Big breaths. Let's come forward into a plank when you feel ready. Shoulder blades down the back. Widen your collarbones. Integrate into the core of your body. Make sure your index finger mounts have as much weight as your outer wrists. And then let's find the ground. Knees down first if you need it. Let's roll the shoulders a few times so we feel those shoulder blades mobile on your back. Try one shoulder at a time so we're rolling our shoulders. And then go the other direction. Roll your shoulders forward. And then one more time, rolling both shoulders back. Inhale, lift up to a cobra pose, open chest. Exhale, melting back down. Let's repeat. Elbows back, shoulder blades down. Engage the core a little bit to support you. Melt to fold. Come back up onto all fours. Wag your tail. And then stretch back towards another child's pose. And as you drop back, open up the breath one more time and feel the traveling of your breath down your spine. Let's take these blocks and put them in front of you. Put your elbows on your blocks. And you have to just adjust where they are. Palms together. And then once you get settled of where you want to be, drop back towards child's pose with your legs again and drop your thumbs toward your spine. So we're opening up through our triceps, also our lats. Try not to sink toward the ground, but instead feel that you can lengthen from your elbows to your hips. Breathe deeply into that openness of your shoulders. And then come out of there. Bring your hands onto the blocks. Move the blocks out of the way and come to a dog pose. Breathing well. Feel that you're opening up not just your shoulders, but your whole spine. So the reaching of your pelvis away from your heart. Feel the vertebrae open up. Walk your feet forward. Come to another Uttanasana. Can you sense the back body opening a little bit more? Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, and we're going to step the left foot back. So come into a lunge with your right foot in the front. Your left foot is behind you. Hands on blocks if you'd like. Come into a lunge here. Let's just put our back knee down for a moment so you can just open up through the hip flexors, maybe put a little extra height under the blocks so you feel the sense of an open heart. Enjoying your leg opening up here. All right, and then let's lift the knee off the ground. Come into a full lunge again. And let's begin to bend and straighten the front knee. So as you straighten the front leg, you can lift your toes and drop your head if you'd like, and then return back to the lunge. You can also just go a little bit, maybe your leg doesn't go all the way straight. Find your path. Make sure your breath is guiding you. Okay, so the breath is the leader of the pose. Right. Ground your legs here. Root to rise. Bring the arms up. Feel that extension, open up to a bit of a chest opener here. Maybe look up, check your balance, see if that's okay for you. And then we're gonna interlace our hands behind our back. Stretch your arms straight and open up the front of your chest. Make sure you're not compressing the lumbar spine. So draw the navel in, lift the pubic bone a little bit toward your belly button. And exhale. Keep your hands behind you. Walk your back foot forward. Open up through your chest. And then when you're ready, exhale and bend forward. Now, if your shoulders are tight, you can always grab a strap behind your back to hold on to, so your hands have a little bit more distance apart from each other, so you can come forward and let your arms leave your spine, opening up the fronts of your shoulders. Neck is at ease. Relax, melt out of there. Come to a halfway lift again, extending through the heart. Melt and fold again. Feel the back body open. And then step your left foot front, right foot back. Let's put our knee down onto the ground and open up through the hip flexor of that back leg. You can come a little higher with the blocks, or maybe even your hands on your knee, whatever feels nice to help you come into that openness across the front of the hip. Returning to sensation, returning to breath. Ground through your legs, lift your back knee up off the ground now. Return to sensation, return to breath. So as we bend our front knee and straighten our front leg, we're going to square our hips the whole way through. Maybe you lift your toes and tuck your chin, maybe not. Just kind of find your way. Remember to let the breath guide the movement. It's the leader. Try to let your mind stay present with what you're feeling in your body. Feeling the breath, feeling the sensations of stretch, of movement, of groundedness, stability. All right, take a moment to feel the roots of your legs drop in, push off your feet and rise up, crescent lunge. Okay, breathing well. Knit your ribs in and open up through your heart. Full breaths here. All right, interlace your hands. Let's hold them the weird way, so the not usual way. Open up through your shoulders again. Be very mindful of your lumbar spine. You can even bend the back knee a little bit to give you a little more space in the lumbar spine. And find your core, so drawing up pubic bone to navel. And then relax and walk your back foot forward. Hands behind your back one more time, coming into that open-hearted stretch. Bring your arms over, away from your spine. You can use a strap if you need. Relax your neck, melt the skull. All right, release the strap, release your hands. Grab onto your elbows and just hang for a moment. Make sure your neck is at ease. And then we'll slowly rise up to stand. Now you've been down, head down for a bit, so notice if you need some, regrouping with your blood pressure. Take a moment to find your breath again. All right, I'm going to get closer so you can see my hands. We're going to do some nerve glides through the nerves in your upper arms, or through your whole arms. So we're going to take, A-OK, and we're going to flip your hands up toward the sky as if you wanted to make, the owl eyes, okay? And then back down. And so very simply lifting up and coming back down. When you do this, try to keep your elbows wide, your chest broad. And the goal here is when we turn our palms forward and then up toward the sky to pull the pinky finger side of the hand down so that we're opening up that ulnar nerve. This is a ulnar nerve glide. Let's do one more. Palms come up toward the sky, pull those pinkies down, and then relax. And give your hands a little bit of a shake. Maybe your arms a little bit of a shake. Okay. And now we're going to head over to the wall spot that I was talking about. So when you come to a wall, first we're going to do a nerve glide before we do the shoulder clock. Facing onto the wall, we want our wrist to be at the same height as our shoulder. Okay, so we don't want it high or low, just nice and neutral. Spread your palm out really wide and turn the eye of the elbow, where you get blood drawn, the eye of the elbow up toward the sky. Drop your shoulder blade down and think Tadasana with the rest of your body. So we're not, like just slouching here, but in Tadasana, find your breath, press the wall. And now we're going to lift the ear away from or up toward the sky and then down toward our shoulder. Now with the other arm, I always think it's a good idea to just kind of keep the palm facing forward so your shoulder is nice and open instead of, holding onto your head. Around, you might need some slight adjustments of your hand placement on the wall. There's lots of ways to do a radial nerve glide. This is just one way. Then neutral with your skull, press the palm, drop the shoulder blade down, open up all your fingers. Okay, and then relax that. Give that hand or both hands a little bit of a shake, and we'll come to do the other side. So palm into the wall. Okay, have your wrist around the height of your shoulder. You can adjust little, bits here and there. Just find a place that's comfortable. Let your body be in Tadasana. Press your palm firmly into the wall. Open up your palm. Spread your fingers. Root all your hand into the wall. Drop your shoulder blade down. Keep your other arm stable. So I like to turn my palm facing forward, but you do you. And then we'll lift the ear up toward the sky and then down toward the arm. All the while keeping good contact of the arm, the hand, into the wall. Are you guided by your breath? Try not to run away from strong sensation. Just be curious and explore what you're feeling. And go ahead and rest your neck, neutral head, but press your hand again. Relax and give that hand a good shake. Okay. All right, so standing in a little bit wider stance than Tadasana. You can be hip width apart or like me, just a little bit wider. And we're just gonna let our arms go. So let your spine open up. Let your breath open. Twisting here. Let your heel leave the floor so that you're letting your hips go with your arms, with your spine, with your pelvis. Everything's moving in one direction. And then arms out to the sides and just feel that range of motion through your thoracic spine. Breathing deeply. All right. And then relax. And just notice, take take a deep breath and just notice kind of what's alive in your body right now. I feel tingly all the way down to my hands from those nerve glides. I don't know about how you feel, but there's a lot of aliveness in my upper body right now. Big breaths. All right, we're gonna walk to the wall. I'm gonna come to this wall over here to do this. But you need a wall that you can do like a full movement of the shoulder. So we're gonna start with our right arm on the wall. The palm's gonna be on the wall. We're gonna stretch all the fibers of our pecs. So our right side is facing the wall. Feet are, in Tadasana, and our hand is about at 1 o'clock on the clock. Open up, turn away from the wall with your chest a little bit, and just enjoy. And sometimes it's nice to have the other hand be a stabilizing force on the wall if you'd like. You can also just have it down by your side. Big breaths. This also stretches your pec minor, having your arm up like this. So just enjoy what's happening in your pecs. And then we'll walk the hand back behind you to 3 o'clock. Arm is still spread out. Your left hand can be on the wall to stabilize you. Make sure your elbows aren't feeling weird, okay? Drop your shoulder blade down. We're still in Tadasana with our right side facing the wall. Big breaths. Let your breath be what you're focusing on. And then drop down to, what clock is this? 5 o'clock on the clock. And just notice what changes. Still facing away from the wall. Our right side is facing the wall. How's your breath? All right, and then we're going to turn to face our torso toward the wall. Our whole body is facing the wall. Our right arm is going to cross in front of our chest now. The right palm is facing out away from the wall. The back of the right hand is at about 7 o'clock. Widen your collarbones. Breathing deeply and just adjust your hand. It doesn't have to be right at 7 o'clock, just kind of find your sweet spot. Drop that right shoulder down. Breathing deeply. And then we're going to come up to 9 o'clock on the clock. I like to hold my wrist with my left hand so that I can have a little tug on there, but you do you. Adjust your body, maybe a wider stance, face the wall, drop your right shoulder down and widen your collarbones. And then we'll come all the way up toward 11 o'clock on the wall, still facing the wall, wide collarbones. Being guided by your breath. All right, and then relax and take a moment. Give that right arm a little bit of a shake before we switch sides. So thank you for being slow and taking care of one body part. It's different than doing, the fluid flowing poses of our practice. Sometimes it's very good to focus in. So now we're going to have our left side facing the wall. The left hand is behind you. We'll go counterclockwise. So 11 o'clock, palm is spread out. Your right hand can be on the wall or holding some other piece of furniture or on your hip, whatever feels good. Stretching through the pec minor and the pec major here. Spread those palms really well. All right, and then we'll come to 9 o'clock on the clock. turning away from the wall. Relax your neck. Find your breath. Spread that palm wide. And then we'll move down to 7 o'clock. And this may not feel as strong in the pecs, but you know, it stretches other muscles too. There's a lot. It's our shoulder joints are so unique in our body. Our glenohumeral joints are so unique in our body because they go in such a wide range. Think about any other joint in your body. There's no other joint in your body that does quite as mobile of a range of movement. And because of this, our shoulders tend to lose stability as they have so much mobility. But it's important if we tend to get tight in our shoulders, if we slump a lot, if our posture is hunched forward, that we tend to keeping openness in these parts of our body. They're meant to be open. All right, let's turn toward the wall now. We're gonna face the wall with our body. Our left hand crosses in front of us. Our left hand is at 5 o'clock. Back of the hand into the wall, palm facing forward. You can grab onto your wrist if you'd like and have a little bit of a tug there if you'd like. Drop the shoulders, collarbones wide. And it's always interesting to me to notice, you know, where my body tends to feel a big stretch versus a smaller stretch, but even in the places where you don't feel as much of a stretch or sensation, look for what's there. All right, and then let's take the arm up to 3 o'clock, facing the wall still. Collarbones are wide. Drop the shoulders down. Try not to have your left shoulder hiked up. See if you can soften it downward. How's your breathing? All right, and then lastly, we'll come up to 1 o'clock on the wall. Okay. Facing the wall with your chest. Breathing deep. All right, and then spin that shoulder all the way open again. And just pause. And let's notice the open heart. So even though we haven't done like a back bend per se, you know, we haven't focused on the spine, just the shoulders. Notice if the imprint of an open heart is a little bit more available to you. If your shoulder blades are kind of just settling themselves more comfortably on your back. If your imprint and your echo of all that lives in a place where a slump is not likely to happen, that a slouch is not likely to happen. And enjoy this Tadasana. Enjoy what it feels like to have your shoulders set well and what a difference it makes for the rest of your body. What a difference it makes for keeping your head up and seeing the world, keeping your heart up, keeping your breath open. Take a deep breath in, stretch your arms overhead, exhale, and float. Let your back open up here, relax. Inhale for a halfway lift, extending the spine. Melt to fold one more time. Let's do that again, a halfway lift. Relax. Step back to a dog pose. Feel that extension in the body. Feel your legs. And then come down to child's pose. Feel that compression in your knees. Stretch your arms overhead. Okay, we're going to set up for a Supta Baddha Konasana.
You can do this over a heart bench if you'd like. So I'll demonstrate. So you can have your blocks, low height, middle height. The middle height's for your head, the low height's for between your shoulder blades. You can have the one between your shoulder blades long along your spine or across your shoulder blades, your choice. And then to kind of help us soothe this into a Supta Baddha Konasana, put a blanket over top instead of just lying on your blocks. You can ignore me and just go on your blocks if you'd prefer. And then grab a second blanket so that you have some support for Supta Baddha Konasana legs. We'll open up the blanket and roll it like a snake. Okay, so it's nice and wide. And then we'll sit and take that rolled blanket, put it over top our feet, and then kind of tuck it next to or underneath your outer hips a little bit, or your legs, so that you're nice and supported as you butterfly your knees open. Adjust the blocks underneath you, so the block under your head, we have one block under your head and one block under your back. Okay, so instead of, we've done a lot of work with the shoulders, which is awesome. But let's try to give them a rest now. So instead of, doing some of these normal positions that we do in this pose of maybe interlacing our elbows or stretching into a cactus or arms overhead, all these things that we like to do, instead, bring your arms down at your sides and just turn your palms open toward the sky. And let your shoulders just relax into the setting, their new setting that you've just cultivated. And you might need to adjust the blankets or the blocks or something. So just kind of find your way so that you're at ease. This should be a very comforting pose. So if you're pokey under your back, just take the props out from underneath you and lie flat on your back, or put a bolster there instead. So don't be uncomfortable, be comfortable. So this is not a pose of tolerating it. This is a gift, this is a restorative where we want to feel yummy in all ways. Now with the shoulders set, where they've lost their hunch, let's breathe. That's a very beginning breath where we're just elongating. Noticing the transitions between the inhale and the exhales. Just making everything smooth as butter. So roll to your side, curl into a little ball. Put something under your head, a block or a blanket, and let your back round a little bit here. Just soften. Move some of your props out of the way. We might need them for Shavasana. So keep them close by if you need them. Come onto your back, bring your knees to your chest and rock a little bit. Just swaying from side to side, nice and gentle. A very simple twist. Drop your knees one way, turn your head the other. Try not to over open the chest, just melt into the twist. Back to center, knees go the other way, head goes the other way. And back to center. Maybe a little rocking plow, maybe a happy baby, maybe knees to chest, maybe a reverse pigeon. What does your body need? Okay. Find your way as you're ready into Shavasana. So take your time. If you're doing some postures to release your body, that's awesome. Don't feel like you have to go right into Shavasana. Make sure that you're coming to Shavasana with an ease, where your body feels neutralized. Okay. If you like support, you can stack your blocks next to each other and put a blanket on top of it for underneath your knees. I recommend that, but you do you. Maybe you like being flat, and that's great too. So just find your way. That was a lot, even though it doesn't feel sometimes as vigorous of a practice when we're standing and doing long held stretches, but it was a lot for your shoulders. So once you're on your back, drop your shoulder blades down your back and melt your arms, palms turning up. And do what you can. Imagine that you had sandbags on your shoulders, letting them sink toward the ground. And of course, if you would rather put your hands on your body or somewhere else, that's fine too. But just see if you can melt the shoulders. Relax your head and feel the ease through your body. Let's begin to deepen our breathing. Maybe have a little bit of movement in our ankles or our wrists. Maybe a big stretch. Eventually coming onto your side. Coming up to a comfortable seat when you're ready. Notice when you come to a seat if your shoulders are sitting differently. Bring your hands together at your heart when you're ready. Let's just offer the gift of our practice, whatever merits you gain from being present with yourself, moving and breathing. Let's breathe this energy outward to the world, to one person, to many people, whoever you want to share your heart with. Namaste. All right, thank you, everyone.